Saints vs Bills. In the 5 games since Adrian Peterson was traded, Ingram and Alvin Kamara have combined for 1,129 total yards and 11 touchdowns. Despite the timeshare, Ingram scored 3 times Sunday and is a top 5 overall fantasy asset. I can't remember the last time, if ever, there were 2 obvious top 10 RB fantasy starts from the same team each week. The Saints tied an NFL record with 6 rushing scores, running on 24 straight plays during one stretch. New Orleans arguably has the best run-blocking unit in the NFL and gets the Falcons, who entered Sunday with the number 29 ranked Run DVOA, twice during the fantasy playoffs. Drew Brees owners have to be frustrated as the QB attempted just one pass after there was 12:25 left in the third quarter. Game script killed LeSean McCoy, who got 6.1 YPC. Kelvin Benjamin led Buffalo with 6 targets during his first appearance for the Bills. This game marked the only in Week 10 featuring 2 teams with a winning record. The Saints are a legit threat to win the Super Bowl this year. Vikings vs Washington. Case Keenum went on the road and threw for 300+ yards with 4 touchdowns in Washington. Both Adam Thielen and Stephen Diggs were terrific. Teddy Bridgewater's opportunity will have to wait. This one-handed TD catch by Maurice Harris was legit. 33-year-old backup tight end Vernon Davis is Washington's most reliable receiver. Packers vs Bears. The setup sure looked like a big game was coming from Jordan Howard, but take away his 25-yard run. He got 29 yards on 14 rushing attempts. It's hard not to value Davante Adams ahead of Jordy Nelson moving forward this year. Adams' late TD catch Sunday was nice. Jamal Williams becomes an obvious must-add in all leagues, and this week's likely top waiver priority with Green Bay's backfield injuries. This wasn't one of John Fox's best challenges ever. Steelers vs Colts. Le'Veon Bell's floor remained high with another 31 touches, but his 112 ifs without a score was underwhelming. Martavis Bryant's return didn't hurt Juju Smith-Schuster's stock, as the rookie recorded 5 catches for 97 yards and scored a touchdown for the 3rd game in a row. This wasn't the tightest coverage by the Steelers. Chargers vs Jaguars. Leonard Fournette had fresh legs in a plus matchup, but he responded with just 1.9 YPC and 46 scrimmage yards. He's had a great rookie season, but Fournette hasn't been useful to fantasy owners since Week 6. Jacksonville executed a fake punt to perfection, resulting in a long score. The Chargers are 3-6 despite being outscored by just 5 points this year, which is a very Chargers-like season. Jets vs Buccaneers. With no Matt Forte and a cheap price tag, Bilal Powell was a popular DFS play this week, and he failed mightily, totaling just 66 yards and losing a fumble. Elijah McGuire finished with more touches. Robbie Anderson continues to impress, scoring in his 4th straight game. He's the real deal and should be treated as a top 15 WR. With no Mike Evans in this plus matchup, Cameron Braid was another DFS bust this week. Doug Martin has gotten 2.9 YPC over the last 5 games. Bengals vs Titans. Joe Mixon hasn't run for more than 51 yards in a game yet. I like Corey Davis's future as much as anyone, but the rookie turned 10 targets into just 48 yards and lost a fumble. Tennessee also is a ball control team with a fairly wide passing tree, so Davis's fantasy value right now is limited. Browns vs Lions. Detroit was 12-point favorites and down a touchdown with 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, yet covered with a 38-24 win. He was at times tough to watch, but ultimately Matthew Stafford got 9.6 EPA with 3 more TD passes. It was another big fantasy game despite Marvin Jones' 1 catch being quiet and the Lions scoring a defensive touchdown. The Browns' shoddy play against tight ends made Eric Ebron briefly relevant again. Texans vs Rams. Todd Gurley joined LeSean McCoy, Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette and Melvin Gordon as failures to live up to their lofty DFS price tags this week, although Gurley was active in the passing game. The Rams scored 33 points as they continue to threaten to become the first team ever to go from worst to first in PPG in subsequent years. Will Fuller quickly went from the biggest riser in fantasy value mid-year to its biggest faller despite no change in his health. Robert Woods hadn't scored all year before doing so 4 times over the past 2 weeks. Here's his 94-yard TD catch.